Wisconsin Broadcasters Association Hall of Famer Bob Berry ruled Milwaukee's airwaves in the 60s and 70s. He spoke with countless musicians and celebrities over the years. Bob collected remarkable recordings of these encounters, which he's now sharing with the public. Here's Bob.
Today we have not one, but two very talented guests. British invasion icons, smooth harmonizers, and all-around charming gents, Chad and Jeremy. Back in the 60s, while the world was busy screaming for rock and roll, Chad and Jeremy were stealing hearts with their soft, melodic folk pop hits.
Trees swaying in the summer breeze. For me, you were the one, but that was yesterday, and yesterday's gone.
Their music was the soundtrack to Daydreams. Their harmonies were pure magic. And to be honest, the British accents didn't hurt either. They discussed their wild ride from London to international stardom.
Chad and Jeremy on the air with us, and back together again here in the United States, and they have a record I think is going to be a hit. We'll talk about that in just a minute, but first of all, I got to ask you guys, Jeremy, Clyde is with us right now. Why did you two get back together again?
Well, we got back together again because we wanted to. I mean, that's the short answer. We've been friends now. We've worked out we've been friends for 24 years. Amazing.
So you remained friends over all these years?
Yeah, very much so.
Mm-hmm. And, of course, you all know Chad and Jeremy had some big hit records, especially Summer Song. I believe your biggest in 1964, right?
Yeah, that was the biggest. I mean, we worked it out. I was reading one of those books, and we had 7 consecutive hit singles. I was astonished. I'd forgotten all this stuff. You know the way it is.
What was your first trip to the United States like back in the 60s?
It was incredible. It was. See, we didn't realize we were part of the British invasion, in the sense that we'd had a hit record with something called "Yesterday's Gone," which started off in this country as a sort of, I believe, it was first regarded as a country record, and then it was discovered that we were English and we had hair and all that, and we were thrown onto an aeroplane, double quick time. We arrived in Los Angeles, which was where and found out that we were the first band of the British invasion to reach the West Coast, and it was hysterical. I mean, we had this incredible reception at Los Angeles airport. I mean, thousands and thousands of little girls. It was a bit like being on a roller coaster, as far as I was concerned, in the sense that it was very exciting, very fast, and yet you were completely out of control. I mean, you had no control over your own life. You just did what you were told to do, and these amazing series of events.
Did all the English, Jeremy, did all the English groups sort of have a union? I mean, did you get together with the Beatles once in a while, or see the Stones, or?
Well, we'd all run into each other. I'm trying to think. I mean, actually, oddly enough, the people that we were fairly close to, right in the early days, because we gave them our old job when we left to take up a record contract, was 2 fellas called Peter Asher and Gordon Waller,
oh, yeah.
who then sort of immediately followed us up the charts with some of their stuff, Peter
Right.
and Gordon. We used to know Graham Nash of the Hollies quite well, still do. I still see him occasionally. I just ran into Spencer Davis today. Remember Spencer Davis?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Why do you think you never duplicated your American success of the 60s in England?
Well, I think it's sort of cultural, really, in the sense that the softer kind of music has never really found favor in England. I think it's got something to do with the fact it's to do with a very small island and radio programming, which is very much geared to hard rock hit singles sort of thing. I think, there is room for so much more in America in a funny kind of way.
Did you write all of your songs?
No, Chad wrote the first 2 hit singles, Yesterday's Gone and Summer Song. And he then rather stopped writing, and that was one of our problems. I mean, it was one of the things that made for, it didn't make life at all easy, because when people are screaming for products and you're having great success, we just weren't coming up in the way that the Beatles were coming up with one song after song after song.
Did you write the song Bite the Bullet?
No, that's one of Chad's.
One of Chad's, okay.
Right.
All right. Well, Jeremy, let's talk to Chad for just a minute.
Yeah, just a second. Here he is. Chad. Hello, Bob.
Hello, Chad. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Are you having a good time?
Yeah, it's a very good time. It's really incredible to be back.
Has the music business changed a lot from your first trip to the United States back in the 60s?
It has. I would say the big change is that everybody got organized. We were talking to John Keeble of Spandau Ballet just before Christmas, who's become something of a friend. He's a nice guy. Anyway, he was saying that, I mean, he's 22 or something, and he was saying that the reason that they can handle it is because all the old boys, such as ourselves, went ahead and blazed the trail. I mean, we got our legs blown off by the landmines, and now they can come along and walk without fear.
Well, Chad and Jeremy recorded a song called Bite the Bullet, and Chad wrote the song, and why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Okay. First of all, it's a very pleasant surprise to have it released as a single. I think when you write songs, you never really sit down and try and do that per se. I think you just write it because you want to. I wrote it originally. I wrote the verse, I think, out of frustration because I'd been divorced and I was separated from my kids, and I think it was one of those real life songs. But the bridge came, I think, 2 years later when it finally clicked.
Let's listen to Bite the Bullet. I think it's going to be a big hit. I really do. I like this song.
Well, bless your heart, Bob. I'm glad you said that.
And I wish the two of you a lot of success.
Thanks.
It's nice to have you back.
Okay, bless you.
Bob Berry.
Thank you for listening to Bob Berry's Unearthed Interviews. Be sure to subscribe and rate our podcast wherever you find your podcasts. You can find all our episodes at WisconsinBroadcastersMuseum.org. Check out Bob Berry's book, Rock and Roll Radio Milwaukee. Book sale proceeds support Donate Life Wisconsin. Special thanks to Wisconsin Historical Society and for financial support from WBA Hall of Famer Terry Barnes.